We might know Pakistan by name, but the number of those who have been there is relatively low. It's a South Asian country with a land area of 881,000 square kilometers. In terms of population, it's home to a whopping 235 million people. So much so that there's a dense population within the country's borders. The population issue, perhaps the biggest problem in South Asian countries, is also one of the first striking facts in Pakistan. Only 30% of the population lives in cities, while the vast majority live a special life in villages and mountainous areas of Pakistan. The most significant factor behind people migrating to rural areas instead of concentrating in cities is the extra costs associated with urban life. Looking at Pakistan on a map, you'll notice that it has a long coastline along the Arabian Sea, with Afghanistan and Iran to the west, China to the north, and India to the east. The capital city, with a population of over 1 million, is Islamabad. However, contrary to common belief, Islamabad is not the most developed city in Pakistan. Karachi and Lahore are known as the country's largest and most developed cities. In many aspects, the country bears similarities to Indian culture. Street food and clothing styles are clear examples of this. Today, the country is the world's sixth most populous and the only Islamic country with nuclear weapons. However, this country is one of the newly independent nations. India and Pakistan were under British rule for a long time. About 60 languages, including English, are spoken in the country, and English is considered valid even in official state correspondence. In addition, Urdu is one of the main symbolic languages, and the name of this country is the Indian language. In 1947, Muhammad Ali Jinnah of Pakistan had decided to separate the country from India, thus creating a new state identity. However, territorial disputes between Pakistan and India are still ongoing today. So the two countries are not considered friendly. The country is the intersection of lives between Bangladesh and India. So, if you have been to India or Bangladesh, the scenes you will see on the streets of Pakistan closely resemble the daily reality, routines of these two states. Especially in terms of religious beliefs, the fact that almost the entire country is devoutly Muslim brings Pakistan even closer to Bangladesh. I wish I could say that Pakistan's roads and streets are as developed as possible, but unfortunately I have to convey to you what is visible. Despite having very fertile land, this country unfortunately cannot make good use of its resources as of today. For example, let's take a look at people's professions. If you go to cities like Lahore and Karachi in Pakistan, you will see markets set up at almost every corner. People are constantly on the move and dozens of people per step. Especially in marketplaces, there are hardly any female workers and the stalls are filled with men. Pakistani men, like those in Afghanistan, mostly have a single clothing style. These people don't wear trousers, shirts or sweaters, but they wear a dress. Wear the same type of traditional clothing in different colors. This male clothing is called an abaya, and it is quite popular, especially among Asian Muslim populations. So much so that in places where Muslims live abundantly, such as Bangladesh, Afghanistan, Pakistan, and India, you'll see that men dress entirely focused on the abaya. One difference between Pakistan and its neighboring Afghanistan is that while both populations are entirely Muslim, not all Pakistan men have beards. While wandering through the bazaars, you can see that some men have rough, unkempt beards, while others are only mustached or clean-shaven. The country's large population and its status as an agricultural country have generally pushed people toward the food sector for their livelihoods. Therefore, the markets are incredibly crowded, and there's almost nothing you can't find in these markets. The street food you see on the roadsides is usually cooked on a griddle. These foods typically consist of meat and spices, and they're usually cooked on a griddle. If you don't like spice, sauce, or seasoning, then Pakistani street food may not appeal to you. Additionally, rice consumption is widespread in Pakistan. The most popular and satisfying street food is often meaty rice pilaf. While some sell typical Pakistani street food in the markets, others sell fruits and vegetables unique to South Asia. Some try to make a living by selling various tools and equipment in the markets. Now let's talk about the population issue. What happens if a country's population increases more than its available job opportunities? Of course, per capita income decreases. Imagine a big round pie, and think of it as a country. There's distributing this pie to 10 million people, and then to over 200 million people. The more people benefit from the pie, the more inevitable poverty and related problems become in that country. In Pakistan, people who carry loads, sell things, or drive taxis all day earn only about $100 to $150 a day. In Pakistan, people who carry loads, sell things, or drive taxis, if we express this in terms of purchasing power, every adult in Pakistan works for a year just to buy a decent computer. The currency used in the country is the Pakistani rupee, and a Pakistani's monthly income is around 20,000 to 25,000 rupees. This translates to around $90. So friends, you can think of the average income of every person in Pakistan as around $100. That's precisely why young people in Pakistan are not satisfied with their lives in their country and are looking for ways to escape. They strive to move to the most western regions they can reach. One of these countries is, of course, Turkey. Following Syrians and Afghans, there's now a significant influx of Pakistanis entering Turkey through illegal means, dreaming of reaching European countries via Turkey. Pakistan's inability to manage such a large population is further evidenced by the extreme pollution on the streets and roads. Pakistan's inability to manage such a large population is further evidenced by the extreme pollution on the streets and roads, making it clear that too many people result in excessive waste. Lahore in particular stands out as one of Pakistan's and one of the world's dirtiest and most unhygienic cities. For example, food waste is constantly on the sides of roads and the ground. In the back streets, you are greeted with incredibly nauseating odors. The oxygen level in the air must be so low that you can easily perceive that the air you breathe in your lungs resembles everything but oxygen. What's strange is that people can easily perceive that the air you breathe in your lungs resembles everything but oxygen. What's strange is that people can easily perceive that the air you breathe in your lungs resembles everything but oxygen. What's strange is that people have become accustomed to this way of life and don't seem bothered by it. The complexity of the electrical wires on utility poles, the old and worn-out buildings, and the dirt-covered roads have become part of people's daily lives. Or perhaps they believe that their resources are adequate because they have never seen better living conditions. For instance, people transport their goods not with minibuses but with donkeys. While this might be normal for villages, the use of such transportation in cities creates negative impressions about the country's development. The asphalt system on the roads can be considered better compared to African countries, but it's evident that it hasn't been renewed for at least 30 to 40 years. Asphalt systems are present in most parts of the cities but are now in need of maintenance. If you want to get a shave in Pakistan, you can see people getting shaved in alleys or roadside stalls. Since renting a shop is expensive for most people, they perform barbering on the streets. However, Pakistan is a country where monsoon rains are quite frequent.